Yesterday was a day that will go down as a landmark in the annals of Xanadu. In the course of a Monday afternoon live stream, Doomcock passed 35,000 subscribers on YouTube, passed 5,000 followers on Twitter, and wonder of wonders, William Shatner unblocked me on Twitter. This did not happen spontaneously. No, while I was live streaming, unaware of anything happening with the gang from Midnight's Edge discussing Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard, Echo Base Network decided to ask William Shatner directly to unblock me. I had no idea they were going to do this. They simply stepped forward and asked, and William Shatner responded. He declared, "Here's my deal for Doomcock fans. Put your money where your mouth is. Make a donation to my charity. If they get to $1,000, I'll unblock him. If he has 1,000 friends who donate $1, that would work." And thus, the challenge was laid down, and thus the Phantom Menace responded. Mr. Shatner called for $1,000 to be donated to his charity. The word was given, and the donations came flooding in. And within 45 minutes, Dominions and Doomentites from all around the world had surpassed that mark. And Doomcock was unblocked by William Shatner, who told me with a sly grin, "Now behave." It's hard to put into words the flood of emotions that has engulfed me since this happened. You can hear it happening live on my live stream at the time. The link to that live stream is in the video description. But even there, I was mostly numb with bewilderment and disbelief that this was actually happening. Only afterward, with the overwhelming outpouring of congratulations and support from my supporters and fans of the Phantom Menace, did the full extent of what had happened finally hit. And I have to say, although I am a supervillain that bows to no man, in this moment I find myself grateful and humbled by all that you guys have done for me. Somehow, through some misunderstanding, some poorly chosen words on my part when I was just starting out on Twitter, at some point I managed to offend Mr. Shatner, and he decided to block me. This was a painful surprise to me. I was puzzled because of what William Shatner and the characters he played have meant to me in my life. Growing up, William Shatner was my childhood hero because of the way he brought to life the inimitable, the indomitable Captain James T. Kirk. For a lonely kid growing up, Star Trek was my source of solace. It taught me certain ideals in life. Kirk taught me about courage and nobility. McCoy demonstrated the strength that lies behind compassion. And Spock taught me that it was all right to be different. That just because you were shunned by others didn't mean that you deserved it. I was always the smart kid, nose buried in books and comics, head in the clouds, and when other kids were playing games at recess, I was the guy sitting alone and reading Spider-Man or making up my own stories about Kirk and Spock and McCoy, or drawing the glorious Starship Enterprise. Of course, now I'm grown. Now I know that William Shatner just played that role, and yet, whenever I look at him, in whatever role, in whatever venue, I can't help but see him through those childhood eyes. And so, when I was blocked by him, that lonely kid inside me couldn't help but feel abandoned. No matter how much I tried to reason with him, no matter how often I told him that it didn't really matter, that William Shatner is a busy man, that he doesn't know you, so it's not really a rejection. That part of me was still hurt. And I don't like to talk about things like that. I don't like being vulnerable. But over the past year and a half that I've been on YouTube, even with me holding back on those kinds of things and only rarely alluding to the blocking, only jokingly and with a cavalier ruse, my friends somehow knew what it meant. Somehow they knew. And that's why when I think of you guys out there, I can't help but think that you're my family. Because only family could really know that about me when I do my best to hide it. But you guys knew. Echo Base Network knew. Tom Connors, Jeff and Jeremy of the High Council knew. And look at these figures. Look how quickly all of you stepped up to make this happen, to lift this dark weight from my shoulders so that lonely kid inside me wouldn't feel abandoned by his childhood hero anymore. As stupid as that sounds, you guys knew. And I can't really tell you what that means to me. I started my YouTube channel, emerged from hiding at the center of the earth and diverted from my plans for world conquest, all because I was outraged at what was being done to Star Trek by this latest perversion of canon called Star Trek Discovery. It was my passion for Star Trek that drove me. Without that passion for Star Trek, this channel would not exist. And it is this passion for the stories that we were raised on that drives the fandom menace. This is true for almost everyone. We are called haters because we hate what is being done to our treasured modern myths, the stories that make up our cultural heritage. And anyone with eyes to see knows that this hatred of the destruction comes from a place of profound love. Love of the stories that are so dear to us, they are like threads woven into the tapestry of our lives. It was very painful to me to be fighting for the Star Trek I love and to be cast out by one of the most important and iconic figures of this particular mythology. Well, yesterday you changed that. You guys stepped up. You guys cared. And ultimately, though the child I was, the child that still lives on inside me, is overwhelmed by William Shatner unblocking me, more to the point, the man that I am is humbled and grateful beyond my power to articulate at the outpouring of love and support from everyone for an evil supervillain like me. I will never forget what happened yesterday. I will never forget the generosity of spirit you all have shown. And I hope that this will send a message to the world that we are not what the media attempts to portray us as being. At the heart of the fandom menace, beneath all the rage, beneath all the bluster, beneath all the rants and the videos expressing our outrage at these corporate betrayals of our dreams, at heart we are all driven by an emotion so tender it rarely shows itself, only rarely in times like these. And so, just for today, just for this moment, for tomorrow I shall rise as terrible and relentless as ever. You all have my deepest gratitude, my undying allegiance, my sincere affection, and my permission, just for today, not to stay angry.